To say the relationship between the Mafia and Mussolini was turbulent is an understatement. Mussolini had effectively ran the Mafia out of Italy, at very least forced them underground. Many current or former mobsters say the mob hated Mussolini. In Joe Bonanno's infamous book, he would say this: Mussolini was a cowardly man pretending to be a tough guy. I've seen a few tough guys in my day, and I think I have a measure of expertise on the subject. When I say tough guy, I mean it in a complimentary sense. A forceful man who sticks to his principles. A true tough guy. Whether you agree with him or not, he knows he is superior to most men. The phony tough guy lacks a sense of security. He has to bully people so he can hear them say he is superior. Mussolini was a bully, a phony tough guy. Sammy the Bull Gravano had the following to say.
The Mafia hated Mussolini. Mussolini made an agreement with Hitler, and he undermined that whole thing with the Mafia. And the Italian people didn't want to be fascist.
This hatred for Mussolini might not be the case for every mobster, though. Or maybe it was some Machiavellian gamesmanship. The average person, if they've taken interest in the Mafia or not, likely knows the name Genovese, the boss of one of, if not the most powerful mob families to ever exist, which would take his name and remain until this day. We won't go through the laundry list of deeds of Genovese's illustrious Mafia career. We'll fast forward to spring of 1933. Vito Genovese and his wife Anna would vacation in Italy, where he'd meet Achille Starace, secretary of the National Fascist Party. This would be the start of the Genovese-Mussolini alliance. In 1937, Vito fled America to his native Italy to avoid prosecution. In Italy, he still wielded immense power despite Mussolini's war on the Mafia. While in Italy, the relationship was further forged with the Axis powers, including Hermann Goring and Benito Mussolini. Genovese would start a black market on olive oil, wheat, and other goods. Genovese would make very large donations to the Fascist Party, and would allegedly be named Commendatore del Regno by Mussolini personally, according to an informant. Dubbed the King of Heroin, was a fierce mobster with a criminal record going back to the age of 10. Authorities would claim he killed or was involved in killing over 100 people. He became a reliable hitman for Vito Genovese in the 1940s. Carlo Tresca was a communist, radical anarchist, and lifelong enemy of Benito Mussolini. He would move to the United States in 1904. Allegedly, Mussolini had told Tresca, "Well, Comrade Tresca, I hope America will make you over into a real revolutionary." Tresca would reply, "I hope, Comrade Mussolini, that one day you'll quit posing and learn how to fight." Mussolini allegedly put Tresca on a kill list in 1931. After coming to America, Tresca became an editor at Il Proletario, an official publication of the Italian Socialist Federation. He'd become a writer for various publications, joined various groups, organized labor strikes, spent some time in jail, and would be the suspect in a string of bombings. He started an anarchist newspaper called Il Martello, where he would set his sights on Mussolini, his supporters, and the American Mafia. The FBI FOIA documents state the following. The files of the New York State Parole Office mentioned above reflected that Carlo Tresca was murdered on January 11, 1943 at 9:40 p.m. at 5th Avenue in New York City. He was shot by an unidentified assailant who entered a Ford sedan in which two accomplices were believed to be waiting. On January 12, 1943, an abandoned Ford was found 2 blocks from the scene of the murder, with New York license plate IC9272, which was believed by the police department to be the vehicle used by the escaped murderers. On the evening of January 11, 1953, Carmine Galante reported to his parole officer, and upon leaving the parole office was placed under surveillance. It was suspected that Galante was violating the provisions of his parole, and the parole officers were attempting to ascertain his activities. After leaving the parole office, he was observed to enter a Ford sedan, license plate number IC9272, which was noted by parole officers. Since they had no vehicle available and no other transportation was immediately available, they were unable to continue this surveillance. The following day, parole officers noted the murder of Carlo Tresca and the description of the vehicle found abandoned in the vicinity of this murder, which at the time they advised the district attorney's office. Galante was taken into custody January 13, 1943, and held on a parole violation. To date, this murder has never been solved, although the district attorney's office and police officials are reasonably certain that Galante had some part in the Tresca murder. Chief of the United States Federal Bureau of Narcotics, John T. Cusack, would testify his opinions on mob murders, gambling, and narcotics, where he would identify Galante as the shooter in the Tresca murder, and in an interview would identify Redacted as the getaway driver for Galante in this murder. Was this hit ordered directly by Benito Mussolini? It's most likely not. Did Genovese order the hit as a favor for Mussolini? It's certainly possible. The fact is, Tresca had many enemies from opposing political groups, former political allies, powerful members of the mob, politicians, and authorities. Like many of these historical stories, it's likely sensationalized for headlines. Carlo Tresca was a high-profile target with many different people who'd want him dead. Galante could very well likely have been the killer, and by all accounts it seems he was. However, with rampant corruption in New York City, the evidence could also have been manufactured. We will never know who or why for certain. It's a story based on a lot of speculation and rumor, but it's still a fascinating piece of history.